Right, welcome ladies and gents. M3GAN slays with $30 million plus opening weekend. It's a pretty big success. It had a budget of only $12 million. So this has already made profit. In fact, it's so popular, it's such a success that a sequel is already in the works, and there's potentially an unrated version of this film as well on the way. You know, this was a PG-13 film. There's so much to cover today. We also have a little bit of Avatar: The Way of Water news as well. Pretty big updates in the world of the box office. If you're new here, please do hit subscribe. Please do give the video a like if you enjoy it. But yeah, let's take a look. So M3GAN, it's a pretty big success. An opening of $30.2 million, which is very, very big for a film like this. Now, again, let's make no mistake. We're not looking at huge, huge numbers, but this has already turned a profit. The beauty of these kind of horror films, which is the Blumhouse business model, is make them cheap. Most horror films are made cheap, and then 9 times out of 10 they'll always make money unless they're utterly, utterly awful. And they've obviously got their business model down pat. I mean, to make this for $12 million, pretty bloody impressive. Now, the likelihood of this having, a high marketing budget, a lot of this was viral marketing, i.e. it became a viral sensation and essentially marketed itself. The trailer came out not that long before the film's release, and then it seemed to just stick. People really wanted to watch this film. So this likely has already begun turning a profit based on an assumption, of course, but general statistics are figures as well, and how companies do their marketing budgets. But had a pretty large Saturday, $11.7 million, and that was even with Friday's Take Plus previews. Huge deal. Absolutely massive deal. So, you know, these are one of those things. You know, horror will be one of those sort of properties, genres, whatever you want to call it, that begins to save the movie theatres, I believe. This is one of those things that will actually save a lot of movie studios, because movie studios can't bank on things like Avatar being a huge success, although this is now turning profit. But they just can't, you know, pour those kind of figures into huge blockbusters anymore. It's not possible. So many of these movie studios are in great sums of debt, like great sums of debt. But on to Avatar, because this has been a success. It crossed the $500 million mark yesterday at the domestic box office. And it did a $20.6 million Saturday. So that's faster than Rogue One: A Star Wars Story and Avatar, which did it in both 32 days, and Top Gun Maverick did it in 30. So good. Like, that's really good. Genuinely very good. But again, back to M3GAN. So M3GAN did have an incredible debut. And this was only released domestically. It's not been released anywhere else, as far as I can see. It's going to be released this weekend in most other markets. So this will just continue now to turn a large amount of profit, essentially. And in the UK, these films tend to do pretty well. So I've got no reason to doubt that this will be quite a large success. And obviously that was Blumhouse, James Wan, and Universal that sort of backed this film. And again, yeah, it is PG-13, but still, it overperformed the industry expectations and normal grossing patterns all weekend. So essentially a great success all round, demonstrating great word of mouth as reinforced by its tremendous critical and audience reaction. I know a lot of people don't like this film. I did an update on this across the weekend, and a lot of people were sort of chiming in, just going, yeah, it's boring and predictable. I get that. I've not seen it. I can't really comment on it. But the critical and audience scores are pretty good. Like, there is good word of mouth about this film. Now, that will likely lead to a very good domestic box office run. And there's not that much else being released either coming up. There's very little, actually. Now, this article from Deadline does say, you know, why did Universal go this weekend with M3GAN instead of the MLK holiday weekend when Scream went last year? Because this early January frame has proven to be a good one for horror, especially coming off of a light holiday season that doesn't have many wide releases, especially for this demographic. Basically, it's kind of programming. Anyone that wants to see Avatar, anyone that doesn't want to see Avatar can now go and watch M3GAN. So it's pretty good kind of programming, actually. Pretty damn good, in fact. Now, like I said, M3GAN screenwriter says the original script was way gorier and unrated version is on the books. So it wasn't always meant to be PG-13. In fact, it was significantly nastier, grittier, pretty horrendous. But yeah, it's done really, really well. The original screenwriter, Akela Cooper, opened up about writing the script for the horror film and revealed that it was originally gorier and an unrated version is possibly in development. Now that's interesting. So they're having to develop an unrated version of the film. Now, the writer says, no shade to Universal, love them, and I understand that once the trailer went viral, teenagers got involved, and you want them to be able to see it. There should be an unrated version at some point, she said in an interview with the Los Angeles Times. I heard it is on the books, but yes, it was way gorier. Her body count in the script was higher than in the movie. So that's kind of cool. And it is a shame, we get that these movies do have to be, sort of a wider release to the general populace, but a gorier version, higher body count for this type of film makes it significantly funner, quite frankly. Cooper, who also wrote *Malignant*, which was a very fun, dumb little film. Strong recommendation from me, actually, *Malignant*. I had a really good time with that film. It was sort of like an homage to 80s B-movie schlock, a la like Basket Case and things like that. But Cooper, again, said that Megan's body count wasn't a scale massacre, like in the former movie, but she did kill a bunch more people, including a couple of characters whom James Wan was like, I like what you did with those people, but I want them to live. I was merciless, the writer says, but again, that is me. My humour is extremely dark. Although Megan is in the horror genre, it has some funny elements throughout. Cooper said that it's exciting to see the shift from studio executives that were swaying away from gory films. Like I've said many times, horror will save the box office because they can make them cheap and they make money. People like a good horror. An exec who read one of my specs and really liked it said, it's gory and no one's doing gore right now. We have to wait for a horror movie that has gore to come out and be a hit, and then the market will shift. I was sitting there like, okay, we could lead that change. I love this writer. Now I'm hearing there's gore and it's not a problem. I'm happy that I could have had a hand in bringing back fun horror that doesn't take itself so seriously. I'm reading about more horror movies that are wild, out there ideas coming out or being bought, and some of them are original, which is good. I'm happy that I could steer that ship so that studio execs can be like, oh, there might actually be money in them thar hills. And this is the thing. Studio executives are notoriously... they don't like taking risks at all. They are a real big old pain in the backside. And this writer, Kelly Cooper, is completely right by saying, well, you could lead that charge. You could. You absolutely could. Now, interestingly, Cooper takes notice of the elements of child's play in this. And she says, Chucky is a doll. This is an AI companion. To avoid that obstacle, she needs to be the size of whatever child she is befriending. Initially, Katie was 6 or 7, and now she's 8 in the movie. So Megan is taller, and she's capable of walking around, capable of movement, which makes her different immediately from Annabelle and Chucky. You want that uncanniness, because that is disturbing to people. Yeah, the Uncanny Valley brings a lot of disturbing elements to horrors, for sure. The Uncanny Valley is absolutely brilliant to explore, because it's just one of those things that you look at and you go, oh, something's not quite right there. Oh, it's why de-aging and CGI people just doesn't work out. It makes you really, it's just a bit weird. It makes you look a bit funny. So like I said, Megan, box office success, absolute smash hit, essentially. And this was only domestic, $30 million plus opening domestic. That's great. It will continue to do a pretty major bank across the world. It's not going to dethrone Avatar by any stretch of the imagination, but now competition is coming out for Avatar. Avatar will slow down. That's just the natural run of things. And there are a bunch more movies coming out, again, in the next couple of weeks, which will see Avatar's box office slow down even further. But it'll be interesting to see what people choose to go and see. So I'll hand it on over to you guys. What do you think? Let me know down below in the comments. Megan, $30 million plus opening weekend. Good? Yay? Nay? Have you seen it? Let me know what you guys think. Cheers, guys. Take care.